スタジオ3万
This is Coasting, the theme park podcast from Nerd OD. On today's show, Pokémon rides coming to Universal Japan, attractions closing at Universal Studios Florida, Walt Disney World's Galactic Starcruiser, plus we look at theme parks you have to visit if you're ever in Tokyo.
Hello and welcome to Coasting, the podcast all about theme parks, rides and attractions from around the world from Nerd OD. We are your roller hosts, Reg
And Dan. And as always, we'll kick off the show by getting on track with the latest news.
First up, we have the very sad and unfortunate news about Shrek 4D. I mean, let's be honest, Shrek 4D over in Universal Studios Orlando is probably outdated.
I mean, Shrek generally is, right?
Yeah.
Until Shrek 5 eventually appears, or Shrek 0. I want to see a Shrek Origins.
I'm very, very surprised. That, I mean, it's been going for, what, 18 years now?
Yeah.
And it's already closed down in Hollywood, in the Universal Studios Hollywood one. And that was replaced with the Kung Fu Panda. And then...
Yeah, which I don't feel is that much more up to date.
No, not anymore. I mean, that was back in 2017, though, when it was...
Yeah.
You know, like a big thing.
Was it?
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda.
I think that was when the third one would have come out, I guess. Okay, they're a bit newer, but I mean, the bonus of that is a newer attraction, so I get that.
Yes.
Whereas, yeah, Shrek 4D came out after the first Shrek, before Shrek 2 came out, because it continues the whole Lord Farquaad story, doesn't it? He's dead and he's a ghost.
Of Lord Farquaad.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's one thing I really like about it, and there's one thing I think is a big problem. The big problem is that they released it on DVD about a year after the attraction opened.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you know, why are you going to watch a film at a theme park that you could watch at home? It's like, I mean, to bring it again but closer to home for UK people, Alton Towers opened Ice Age 4D, and all it was Ice Age 3, I think. I can't remember which one. Just cut into a 25-minute like video, like mini movie. So they cut like an hour and 5 minutes out of this film to fit it into a manageable little thing. And it's like, what, you know, what's the point? There's no point in going to watch that when
we
you're
had snow effects,
a theme park.
So you know,
a little bit. A little bit.
But I suppose this was like long before you had the likes of the 4DX cinemas, so it was quite nice to have absolutely. Like a crazy effect. But again, back in the day, that was.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
but
yeah.
The only thing about it, so the good thing about it, and the thing I remember specifically about it was the intro, so the queuing room and stuff, and you've got the three little pigs in their little like caged boxes, and then the mirror starts talking to you, and then Pinocchio appears and stuff, and his nose grows, and all that worked really well. That was a really cool little sort of extra intro. So that's what you get that you don't get by watching it at home. Saying all that, yes, I agree. It's probably its time. I don't think people care so much about Shrek anymore. Especially when you've got the likes of, so obviously they've made deals now with a lot of the Illumination stuff. So you've got Minions everywhere. You've got Secret Life of Pets. Is that one in Hollywood?
It is,
I think
indeed. Opened earlier this year.
Yeah. So they've got a good few different rides and different sort of CGI films, family films that they could transplant into Florida. Plenty that I'm surprised they haven't done yet. I mean, Secret Life of Pets, I don't even know, is that, I mean, again, that must be big enough to have a ride, but I don't remember everyone going crazy for the second one, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just not on my radar. And then in Universal Studios Japan, they've got a Sing show, and that's another one that could be transplanted, because you've already got the theatre, You've got obviously a stage if they got rid of the screen, so that maybe wouldn't surprise me if they brought that in, because Sing 2 is coming up, I believe.
That's very true. So you got that one. The rumours was, well, the rumour mill was going around that it's going to be the How to Train Your Dragon show that's open in Beijing, but with having Epic Universe opening up and a How to Train Your Dragon land.
And there's a rumoured Dragons land there,
it makes sense to not put this show here. It makes sense to keep it for Epic Universe, which makes perfect sense. I personally wouldn't like the Sing show to go on. I also wouldn't like the Secret Life of Pets. I'd love them to bring back Beetlejuice, have a Beetlejuice show. It would make perfect sense to have Beetlejuice there due to the long standing of Halloween Horror Nights, and there is still the demand for them.
There is for Halloween Horror Nights for a month or two a year, but I don't think there is 365 days. I mean, there's a Broadway musical, and there's been rumours for 10 years of a follow-up to Beetlejuice, but nothing's ever materialised.
It's always one of those most requested characters to come back for the meet and greets and for constantly being around the park.
But not an entire ride, I don't think.
I think they could easily have a show to do it. If they proved they had Shrek for 18 years...
The show shut down, though. The show was there for years. I remember going to it every single year. It was
obviously, it'd be a more condensed,
graveyard,
new variation of it. I mean, the technology we've got these days now, the Beetlejuice show could be absolutely outstanding. I mean, we could even have a monster show. The Universal, the Monsterverse never really took off.
Again, they've done it. But, that was the Beetlejuice show.
Yeah, but I was going to say, to bring it back now, again, with all the tech we've got, the fun you could have with the Invisible Man going around the theatre that's happening through.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff you could do nowadays with technology to make a really entertaining 15-minute boom, 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 get out showcase. I think it would be ideal.
It could, but I think that's wishful thinking. I don't think they would bother going back to that now. I think there's too many much bigger. I mean, if they want to put a new attraction in, they want it to be. They've got limited space for actual Universal Studios. They want to use it effectively, so that will be putting in a decent ride that lots of people want to see and is going to be able to be around for another 15-20 years, like the Shrek attraction did. I mean, they've got so the only other space they've really got now, I keep calling it when I think about it, the Wild 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 West stunt show stage, but it's more recently the Fear Factor stage.
Yeah.
So that is right next to Harry Potter. So that for ages has been rumoured to be getting demolished and build something new there, like another expansion to Diagon Alley or something. And then the kids bit has always been. I mean, maybe it's just me because I don't have kids and I don't necessarily go and go and spend time in those areas. Maybe it's just that I don't really think of them, but they almost feel like a bit sort of just forgotten at the back of the park. So it wouldn't surprise me if that area got done up as well. They haven't got much they can add in terms of space, but they can get rid of and replace stuff. I just don't think something like Beetlejuice is big enough a draw. I think great for Halloween Horror Nights, but not for a permanent attraction.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Each to their own.
You're really adamant. This is the hill you're going to die on, isn't it? Bring back Beetlejuice. Don't say it 3 times, Reg, or it'll come true.
Oh, I won't. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, while you're talking about the Fear Factor stage as well, yes. So that is another one that is that's shut down. Again, now it's temporarily closed. And
yeah, I mean, good.
I was going to say, yeah, it's long gone. It's expected to be torn down very, very imminently. So after Halloween Horror Nights, and they can utilise that stage like they always do, it's going to get torn down and probably replaced, like you said, with a new Wisdom World attraction.
Yeah, I think we'll know more even before they announce what they're doing there. But once they announce what is going into Epic Universe. Because if that is going to have a Harry Potter area, which would make sense, then fair enough. They won't. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to expand any of the other ones. They'll just build a new one, and then you'll have 3 lands. At the same time, part of the draw of having Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley is the train between the two and between the 2 parks. You can't really do that, you unless they do something to a bus. But then, you've got no, traffic lights and traffic. It's not, I don't think it's possible to have that continuity between a 3rd park and those 2. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was no Harry Potter going into Epic Universe. And yeah, they just expand what they've already got because they do have that little space there they can use. But I don't know. Like I say, I think that's probably the when we'll find out what the plan is. When Epic Universe finally gets officially announced.
Yeah, 100%. And then the news, which is really unfortunate for people, that now that the COVID restrictions have been lifted and the UK now can fly over to Orlando.
Yes, we can.
Along with the rest of the world, obviously. They're going to shut the Mummy down in January for refurb. But it's a very long extended refurb. So they said the very latest of summer, but they think it's going to be going on for longer than that one. So rumours are it's going to be a load of updated scenes that's going to be coming into play, not just a generic, let's do some paint here, let's maybe fix some of the flames that aren't working at the top. They're actually going to adjust some flames and bring it a little bit more up to scenes and bring it up to speed with some of today's tech, which will be nice because the Mummy ride is phenomenal and one of the best rides there. So if they don't tinker too much with it and just update a couple of little tidbits here and there to make sure the animatronics are still working, like when the mummies and all the things pop out, more than happy with that. Just don't go too crazy with CGI. Keep some stuff
fair enough. There. Don't give us 3D glasses.
Yeah. Well, they're trying their best to get away from that at the minute as well, aren't they? Because even like the Minions ride isn't 3D anymore. That's now just a bog standard 2D ride that you go on. Shame. So it worked really well in 3D, but with the Mummy, again, we've rode it for how many years now with it not being in 3D. So let's not keep it that way.
Yeah, it's more physical things rather than screens everywhere.
And then finally, just while we're talking about Universal, you may have heard the news as well about Universal Japan and Pokémon have now signed a deal, so we're going to be getting some new Pokemon gubbins happening in Universal Studios
now,
Japan.
This could be one or two things. So Universal Japan, it's in Osaka and it's right down in the docks. So you've literally got the ocean on one side and then you've got the city on the other and the docklands surrounding it. And there's not a lot of space. So it always surprises me when they manage to fit in an expansion like like we talked last week, the Donkey Kong expansion for Nintendo, Super Nintendo Land. So reading some of the reports on this and some of the comments, people going, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. We'll have a whole Pokemon Land." I'm not so sure. Yeah. So there's something they do every year in Universal called Cool Japan, and basically from I think it's like February, March or something like that through to about August, they take some popular anime or manga or video game and make attractions for them. They generally pick 2 or 3. So I went to Universal Japan about 4 or 5 years ago, 5 years roughly, and they had I think it was Monster Hunter, it was Sailor Moon and Attack on Titan. And basically they took... oh, no, it wasn't Sailor Moon. It was Kyary Pamyu Pamyu.
Yes, it was.
the Japanese pop star, Kyary Pamyu Pamyu. Basically, there's a ride there that is a spinning coaster, and they just put a VR overlay on it. So you got on a spinning coaster, you put your VR headset on, and you went flying through this Kyary Pamyu Pamyu's weird kawaii world, with the music going along with the ride. And it was really good, really impressive for something that was only going to be there for like 6 months. And I know since then they did a Final Fantasy one. Yeah. And they did an Attack on Titan one. So this is a regular thing, and it's a draw to the park. Like they always have limited edition foods and merchandise, and it does really well. But there's never anything like big and permanent they put on. So it feels to me like it would be one of those. It'll either be part of Cool Japan or a standalone thing. It'll be once that finishes, they'll then do Pokemon, and they will just have like a Pokemon walkthrough, and they'll have an overlay on a ride. I don't know what. I mean, it might be something bigger and grander.
I mean, I think
I know a lot of people.
It has to be more permanent than just a few months in, because it's a long-term partnership that they've signed up for.
Maybe it will be down the line.
So,
but it wouldn't surprise. I know they're talking about, you'll see stuff soon. So that suggests to me that it's going to be 2022.
Yeah, I think you'll see what you're talking about, where you're going to literally do it for that little seasonal blast, where they do it for that event. And it makes sense because while they can start working on the other projects behind the scenes while that's taking effect, ideal. And they'll also probably do a lot more of the Pokemon Go as well, which will be going around there, because they do it for
they've been doing that for a while.
They do it for the Wizarding World over in Universal Hollywood and Orlando for the Harry Potter one, the Wizards Unite. They do a lot of the interactive ability in there. You can find certain things in there. So imagine going around a Pokemon mini park, so to speak, with like the overlay playing Pokemon Go. People will be in their element.
True. The thing I keep reading, though, a lot of people going like, oh, well, this makes sense because, they got that partnership with Nintendo, haven't they? Because people think Pokemon is Nintendo, but it's not. I mean, so Pokemon is the Pokemon company. The games are not Nintendo. The games are Game Freak. And it just so happens that the deal is that they are exclusive to Nintendo consoles, but it's not owned in the slightest by Nintendo. They just have a very good relationship. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, maybe that encouraged the Pokemon company to, partner up with them because they saw how well it went with Nintendo, but it's definitely not linked in that way.
I mean, it makes sense if seeing how amazingly well that the Super Nintendo World is done, and now the Donkey Kong's been added. It just gives fuel for the fire to Universal to be like, how much money do you need in order for Pokemon to come back over here? I mean, the thing that's surprising me is it's only in Japan. Like they're not going to extend it. They've got no plans whatsoever. It's only in
that. To be honest, again, I think that adds to my theory because I don't think they'd say that because if they're going to build a land somewhere and they know how popular these characters are everywhere, why wouldn't they transplant it into the other parks? Especially, I mean, there could be an entire land in Epic Universe in Florida, and that would be amazing. People would love that. So. I don't think it's anything bigger than just a temporary attraction each year. But I'm happy to be wrong.
Excellent. Well,
I encourage them to prove me wrong.
We've talked about obviously America. We've talked about Japan. Let's talk about something a little bit further away.
Space.
As we now have the some floor plans for the new Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser. Which is a bit exciting.
Do we? When we talk about, we talk about news in the real world and everything. Whenever we talk about this, are we going to just pretend that this is in space?
Yes.
We're going to go along with Disney's story here. Okay, I'm just checking.
Yes, for now.
I'm just checking
until it comes out and we just realise it's on the back of a trailer, and then we go, oh yeah, that's not as great as what we thought. Then we can talk about it as though it's not in space.
Right, fair enough.
But for now, it's...
Yeah, so off to space we go.
Indeed. So this is all a bit exciting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the first thing is, so we do another podcast for anyone listening to this and who hasn't heard of us before. We do, we do lots of podcasts, but our sort of main one is a weekly show every Wednesday called the Nerd OD podcast, and we just chat about whatever's interesting to us, anything nerdy. And we've talked at great lengths about going to the Galactic Starcruiser hotel that is being built currently at Walt Disney World and how much it costs. It's what was the price again? $4,800 I think for two people, and about $6,900 or something for four.
Yeah.
Roughly, if my memory's right. So we won't go over all that again. Maybe go listen to that podcast. You'll find it quite easily. But we've had the opening date. So it's opening on the 1st of March next year, 2022.
It is 5 days before my birthday, just in case anyone listening wants to treat me.
Is it? Right, okay. Interesting. Well, let's get that ad revenue going. It goes on sale on the 28th of October, but there's going to be pre-sale for annual pass holders and vacation club holders. I think it's this week or next week, so they get a couple of weeks early. So yeah, they'll probably all be gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
But never mind. But yeah, the bit that is sort of interesting to those of us who don't think we're going to be able to go for at least a good few years until we save up is the floor plan. I mean, we already had the itinerary that went straight up onto at least a proposed itinerary, and we saw that there was going to be things like lightsaber training and the likes, and we saw what the sort of the restaurants and things were going to look like. But yeah, bringing in the floor plans, for me, the interesting bit is even seeing things like they've got the engineering room, the cargo hold, the brig, got lightsaber training pod, transport dock, launch pod dock, concierge, sublight lounge. I mean, everyone knew, at some point you're gonna go into be trained on lightsabers. You're gonna go have dinner, but all these little extra rooms. I'm really looking forward to seeing some people just having free reign and having to walk around and looking at all these different places. Things like the brig. Why do they need a brig? What part of the story is going to lead people into the brig?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? So I love the fact that I was like, oh, the hotel, so to speak, floor plans have gone up, and I'm like, the cargo hold, right? Okay, yeah, it's the ship. So I love the fact that it is just like, if you want to find your way, you've got to remember what the restaurant's called, like where to go to go to certain places. You can't just be like, right, I want to go get some lunch. Let's go to, where is it? The sublight lounge. Let's rock over there. And like the engineering room and this sort of stuff is amazing. Now, obviously, you've only got 2 days there, so I think my initial concept was there's not a lot of stuff to do on there. And then when you break it down, your second day, obviously, you're going to be traveling to Galaxy's Edge, aren't you, to actually go around and have a look around there in Batu, and then as you come back. So there's enough on there that you don't feel like, I need to do this again. I think, well, it's going to be definitely a one and done.
They're operating it like a cruise where you'll have people arriving and leaving on the same day. But it's going to be literally that set day. There will be a day of arrivals and departures, and then a day in space or whatever, or in port, and then a day of departures and arrivals. So it'll be like, get out at 10 o'clock. That's, so you've got to get out. Then we can reset the whole thing. We can get housekeeping in. We can sort out all the rooms, and then you'll be allowed in from like 3 or 4 or something like that. So even then, you've got like an evening. You've barely got a morning, and then the next day is, like you say, it's in port. It's on Batu. So there's not going to be that much time to fill.
No, which is interesting to see how much of a story you're going to get from your personalised experience as you're going around. To be fair, when, like you said, with the timings that you've got to be able to do stuff, you've got to fit a lot in for a lot of people.
Exactly. The majority has to be on that first day, I suppose. It's got to be that late afternoon, evening. But it's odd. I think when you start to think about it, it sounds like 3 days, 2 nights, but it's barely 3 days. Granted, 2 nights, but yeah, I'm not entirely convinced. Again, it's a lot of money. I start thinking, right, you're not very much time in there for all that money, but if you're spending that much money, you don't care. It's just about being there. It's about
100%, mate. It's just the experience to say, I've done that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well that if you could book in on that first, sort of few weeks, you could easily make your money back from YouTube ad revenue. I would set up a video camera facing out my hotel room window, just filming space, and stick that up as a YouTube video with ads every 5 minutes, and you're easily making your money back off that. That's going to get millions of views. People just want to see all the little things.
Yep.
I mean, you could do a tour of the toilets, and that is probably going to be at least a couple of million views right there.
Easy, mate.
Easily. Yep.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. But I mean, it does sound really exciting. So,
absolutely.
So I'm very intrigued.
And one day, the one thing we did say on the other pod was we worked out how much we'd have to save and how long for. And there is an amount of time, an amount of money you could put aside that would be, fairly reasonable. Like if you put £100 a month away, that doesn't sound like an awful amount of money to have to save up. And then, 3 or 4 years' time, you've got the cash. You're sorted.
To stay for the 2 nights there, but not get the flights over or the rest of your holiday.
I mean, that's save another £100 a month if you want to do that. But you know,
if you want to get there, then yeah, you might as well need to do that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited, and yeah, like you say, one day it would be good. But it's going to be hard for a lot of people to just shell out $5,000 on a couple of nights. But I guess people already do that with things like the Grand Floridian Resort and all the posh ones around Disney. They exist. They're not running out of money.
Yeah, it's very true.
Right. Well, we'll get off the news now, and we're going to bring in one of our features for the first time.
Ooh.
We're calling this Coasting All Over the World for now, until we come up with something better. And basically, we wanted to talk about somewhere in the world that you might be thinking of visiting, or you might have thought maybe we'll go there one day, and what theme parks you can visit while you're there. We thought long and hard about, do we start with the UK? Do we just go, okay, let's look at Alton Towers Thorpe Park? No, let's not be that boring. Let's go much further afield. And we've already talked about it kind of this episode, but we're going to Japan, and specifically Tokyo. And the reason I'm talking about this is because 4 out of the 6 places on this list I've been to, so I can personally talk about them. So if you ever do go to Tokyo, I mean, Tokyo is insane anyway in terms of the size of it. It is just absolutely humongous. So it probably doesn't come as any surprise that there are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 theme parks that you can visit without leaving Tokyo. There are even more if you go outside of that area. But specifically, I mean, the one everyone knows about is Disneyland and Disney Sea. And now Disneyland, it's the standard Disneyland. Like when I went, I had a choice of I need to spend one day at the Disney resort. Disneyland, has its castle. It's got all the standard rides, the haunted house, the Big Thunder Mountain,
Mansion, isn't it?
I know they're all slightly different. Don't get me wrong, but it's very, if you've been to one Disneyland, whether it's or Disney World, Magic Kingdom style park, you've all, I mean, yes, they're slightly different, but you've almost been to them all. It's the one that you can kind of miss out on, I think. Whereas the one that gets all the attention is Disney Sea, because it is the only one anywhere in the world. It is unique, and it is very, very unique. I talked last week about seeing Islands of Adventure just pop up out of nothing, and it being this sort of this theme park that was just open, and it was massive, and there was loads of amazing rides. It wasn't like a smaller park that just expanded and expanded and expanded. This is the same with Disney Sea. It got built, and it was all there. It's got there are some rides that are the same from other parks. There's a Terra, but it is, I don't want to ruin the sort of the surprise of it, but the Terra in Tokyo is one of, if not the best one in the world, and it's one of the first places they brought in the Guild of Adventurers.
Oh, right, okay.
That's very interesting to go and see. And then you've got their absolute flagship ride in the middle of the park is this big volcano, and it's basically got a version of Test Track built into it, but it's themed to Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Nice.
And it is absolutely insane. So the moment on Test Track in Florida where you blast out of the building and then you go around the wall of death outside the park, it has that, but that is a moment of blasting out of the volcano, and then it sends you around in loop, and it's just incredible. So it's one of those, absolutely, if you've got a couple of days, do Disneyland and Disney Sea, because there are rides at Disneyland that aren't anywhere else. There's a Monsters Inc. ride, which basically you go around in a car with a big torch, and you have to shine it on different things. You shine it on a garbage can, for example, and there'll be a sensor on it that will then make a monster pop out of the garbage can. So the idea is they're all hiding because it's a blackout. You've got to go around and find all the monsters. So there's some really fun little rides, but Disney Sea is just, honestly, it's something else. Even just the scope of it and seeing this huge volcano in the middle and the lake, it's absolutely amazing. Now, in terms of something a heck of a lot smaller, right slap bang in the middle of Tokyo is a district called Asakusa, which whenever you see videos of Tokyo, you'll see in Asakusa there's a temple called Sensoji. You'll see this big red gate and a huge temple and with a big red lantern hanging underneath it. Now, about 100 meters from the temple, you can see it from the temple. You can see the theme park. It's got a vertical drop ride that just pokes out over the top of all the buildings. But that's where the oldest amusement park in Japan is, like right slap bang in the center. And it's inside, it's outdoors, but it's got a building surrounding the whole thing. So it's in this sort of, sheltered area. And it's absolutely tiny. Just trying to find the size of it. It is only 1.4 acres.
Wow.
And it's very, very old. It's barely been updated. It's lots of little standard fairground rides, but then there's one roller coaster that goes around the outskirts of the park, and this is one of the ones I've not been to, even though it's right there and I've passed it so many times. But it's quite expensive for the number of rides, and all I want to do is go in and go on the roller coaster.
Yeah, obviously.
But it's unfortunately it's pretty pricey. But it looked very interesting. If you want to see what it looks like, there's a music video by a Japanese group called Niji no Conquistador, and they did a music. Yeah, exactly. They did a song called Japanese Fest, and basically it's a one-take shot of them running around the park, getting on a roller coaster and stuff while they're singing. So it's worth having a look, because that's probably a good way of getting a quick tour of the park. Now, there are quite a few other parks that are on the outskirts of Tokyo. First of all, there's what everyone calls Hello Kitty Land, but it's Sanrio Puro Land. So Sanrio have Hello Kitty, but they also have Gudetama. They have Agaretsuko, who has a series on Netflix. They have My Melody, loads of different chibi characters, and they have the biggest indoor theme park in Japan, right in the middle of Tokyo. Or right on the outskirts of Tokyo, rather. Nothing exciting, no roller coasters, but lots of sort of, character interactions and little car rides and walkthroughs and stuff like that, and a really impressive show. This one, I always wanted to go, but I knew I would never want to go on my own. Unfortunately, I went with someone a few years back to Tokyo, and they really wanted to go, and I was like, if you insist, fine, we'll go to Hello Kitty Land, that's fine. But even things like the train station, they've actually themed the proper municipal train station that isn't even anything to do with Puro Land, all out to Hello Kitty and Sanrio, and it's great. It's really impressive. And there's a really good show, like in the middle of the dome, it's this big tree, and it glows and lights up with lasers and stuff, and they do an amazing show at the end of the night, and that's worth having a go. But if you're going for rides, that's not the one to go to. It's not great for that. It is more bit of an experience park. Take your kids, or your friend who's extremely into Hello Kitty. One I've not been to is a place called Yomiuri Land. This is probably one of the bigger non-Disney parks technically in Tokyo. Has a few like decent sized rides, has a big steel coaster that when it was built, it's called Bandit, it was the fastest ride in the world.
I know.
And then a year later,
yeah.
Oh no, this isn't the one that broke everyone's wrists and their necks and stuff. if that's the one you were thinking of, that's a different part. That's not
it wasn't, but now it's got me thinking.
Yeah, Fuji-Q Highlands isn't in Tokyo. It's within sort of travel distance, is about a couple of hours on train, but that's not a Tokyo park, unfortunately. But yeah, this one was the fastest until Magnum XL got built at Cedar Point in the States. But that is it's about an hour outside the center of Tokyo, which is still then technically in Tokyo. The bonus is it's really cheap. It's only about 12 quid to get into. It's 1,800 yen. Wow. So it's about $18.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one that I went to, which was just, I was so disappointed in this place. Yeah. So Yokohama is a sort of an area right next to central Tokyo, right on the sort of the marina. And there is a theme park there called Cosmo World. The bonus of this is it's a free entry, but then you pay per ride. You can buy like an all-access pass or whatnot. But they have this roller coaster that I kept seeing on the internet, on like Instagram and the likes, and it looked amazing. It's called the Dive Coaster. And basically, Vanish, I think they called it. And basically there's a sort of a big pool, and there's a hole in the middle of the pool, and the roller coaster goes into the pool and then through this tunnel and out the other end. And I was like, this looks great. Yeah, it's going to be loads of fun. So I paid my, whatever it was, 800 yen, it's about £6 or something like that. Queued up for a while, got on it, and was thoroughly disappointed. It's better watching it than being on it, unfortunately. Right. Yeah. Next to that, there's about, a bunch of other standard rides. There's like a, big Ferris wheel. There's, all the standard sort of fairground stuff. The best thing, though, is that right opposite it is the Cup Noodle Museum. And the Cup Noodle Museum was genuinely one of the most fun attractions I've ever been to. It's probably my third favourite museum I've been to anywhere in the world. Honestly, it was great. You got to make your own cup noodle and package it and everything. And Reg even has it, if I remember right. I think you won it, didn't you? It's in its bubble wrapped container. Yeah,
that's it. Air sealant, because it's a disgustingly weird flavour that you've done.
I don't think it was that bad. I can't remember what I put in it.
There's like,
I think I left shrimp out of it because I'm not sure you're a fan of shrimp. I can't remember.
You definitely didn't want me to eat it because it had all sorts of random stuff in, but I won it as a prize for the other podcast that we do as a competition.
Yes. But it's great. You get to design your pot and everything. I mean, it's not even part of the theme park. I'm just saying it was the best thing about going there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, last one though, and this is my absolute favourite. And when I was there, we got to go March 2020, right before everything shut down internationally. But we went to, myself and my partner went to Japan, and a lot of the attractions unfortunately were closed in sort of, preparation for the world closing, I guess. And this is Sega Joypolis, which is an indoor theme park, but basically an arcade and theme park mixed.
Yeah, it's closed for good now, isn't it?
No, not this one. There were 3 Joypolises, and 2 of them have closed, but none of them were like this. This is the only one that had actual rides in. You're probably thinking of like the Ikebukuro Game Center or the Akihabara Game Center. I mean, Akihabara had 3 Sega Game Centers, so one shutting down isn't really a big deal. But no, this is still there. It's still open. And the main things are like there's lots of VR rides, but everything is interactive. That's the good thing. So there's simulator things like that. And then there are also just the standard arcade machines you'll find at other places, like the Transformers simulator ride and things like that. But there's 2 just ridiculous rides, especially for indoors. There's this one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like I think it might be half pipe. And it's basically this huge half pipe, and right in the middle is an arm that hangs down, and it holds 2 people on either side standing up. And each person has a button. You're sort of attached by your waist, and then the arm starts swinging back and forth, and it swings up and down this half pipe. And the idea is you've got to get points, and you've got to press the button at a certain point in the half pipe, and the better you do, the faster it goes, the more it spins, and it's insane, like especially for an indoor park. And then the other one is a spinning coaster, but it's also a rhythm action game. So they theme it to different like anime and manga and things like that, and pop stars and whatnot. Depending on when you go, there'll be something different. And basically you go through the first part of the ride is just a really slow sort of car ride through a bit of a twisting track, and there'll be screens appearing in front of you, and they're on a track themselves. They move along with you, and then they disappear. And the idea is things come up on the screen, and you have to press your button on your harness along with the music. And again, you're just getting points. There's no real goal to it other than to get more, a lot of points. But then the last bit, once you've done it, it's got a launch. It blasts you off at like about 30 mile an hour, nothing too dramatic, but you got to think you then pop out like through the door, and you're in the middle of this theme park. It's a spinning coaster, as I said, and it goes upside down. It does like a barrel roll. It's just amazing, really good ride. And Joypolis, especially if you're a foreigner, if you show me passport, it's quite cheap to get in. I think it was about £12 to get in, and then you'd pay per ride. But I thoroughly recommend it. It's right near the giant Gundam statue as well, so go and see that.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Just while you're talking about it, just having a look at some of the... I've seen some of the rides previously, and obviously seen them on the video that you've placed up on the Nerd OD page on YouTube. But yeah, the half pipe ride just looks insane, and that other ride that you were just discussing then looks so much fun.
So good. And there's a Phoenix Wright walkthrough like puzzle ride as well, which is really I really wanted to go on it, and I got in the queue, and then the woman went no English, and I'm like, dang, not like no English, you're not allowed in. It's like it's not in English, it's in Japanese. I was like, oh, okay.
Still
annoyingly, but still. Anywho, right, I think we are complete for the day, Reg. Been another exciting jam-packed show.
I can't believe it's closing time already.
I know, and now I really want to go back to Japan.
And I want to go to Universal.
Well, there you go.
Let's do both.
Kill two birds with one stone. Right, thank you for listening, everyone, and we will be seeing you same time next week.
Indubitably. Thanks very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to follow us on all the socials, and if you've got any theme parks that you want us to discuss,
I always forget
news that we may forget, hit us up on either Facebook, Twitter, or on our email at mail@nerdod.com.
And we're on everything. If you just search for NerdOD, you can't really miss us.
You cannot. But for now, toodles.
Bye.